Hello from Cairo, Egypt. I'm going to be talking to you about care and the socio-emotional dimension of online learning, especially in the time of COVID-19 pandemic. And I hope you're all safe and well and that your loved ones are too. I don't believe in best practices, so this is not what this is. It depends on your context. My context here in Egypt is that internet infrastructure varies by location throughout the day. Students are relatively privileged in my university. They live with their family, and we're a generally oral society. And this global context of everyone moving to emergency online remote teaching. And I want to say nobody signed up for this. And because of COVID-19, I think a lot of the good practices we know about online learning for the past 18, 20 years, they don't necessarily apply. Like, we don't generally take our children with us to work every day, right? But we do now. And I want to remind us that the most important thing is respecting and caring for the souls of our students. More than any time, this is important now. And thinking about kindness and thinking about why we are kind to each other is partly, it's the safest course of action. Even in the face of unkindness of others, if we respond with kindness, it's better. And when I'm thinking about how people make decisions this time, I think being pre-pedagogical is important, like making sure the learners can get to your learning experience before you design it. So it's not about how to convert your course online as it is, but how to make it most useful to your students in these times. And the importance of allowing students the agency to have their voices decide what's going to happen to them, and how much room and how much agency do you have as a teacher to make that happen. In a time of social physical distancing, there's a higher need for socio-emotional dimensions of learning. For example, asynchronous learning, which we've been advising for a long time, students are craving the video conferencing, and we need to let them hear each other's voices, see faces, because they have no other human contact. Is that the same where you are? That's what it is here. The high anxiety and stress and the modified household responsibilities, everybody's having time management problems. And so this socio-emotional distress, that can erode our cognitive capacity. And what can we do to help our students through this? Acknowledge their anxiety and provide support. How can we do this balance between flexibility and structure? Do you even know what day it is today? Really, do you know what day it is today? And then having everyone at home and online, this is more demand on everyone's bandwidth than the number of devices you have at home. And so you can't expect people to have the same productivity. And so it's really important to recognize the importance of every person's presence gets acknowledged. So that means that if someone isn't there, we need to recognize who's not there. Thinking about equity and equality and who has access to something and who has to struggle to reach there and who has no access whatsoever, but also to remember that not all our students have the same goals. And that's the importance of third places. In online learning, they've always been important, but now they're essential because they have no cafes to go to, right? So we need multiple virtual channels and make sure that the most vulnerable of us help to design or choose those channels. So think about places like WhatsApp or Slack for informal, semi-synchronous communication and making sure that students are comfortable with having you there or not having you there, but they have these spaces for themselves is really important these days. And then, I'm thinking in a time when we're losing control of our bodies and almost everything else, how much agency can we give our students to decide how they're going to learn? So for example, in my course, given the choice, some students wanted to modify the topics of their projects to focus on COVID-19, but there are some people who needed a break from it all, and I needed to create space for both of these. And the other important thing is that those of us who are giving in these times, we need supportive communities more than ever before. And that's why there's a group of educators, and we call ourselves Continuity with Care, who are meeting and talking about this to support each other through this time. And so I hope you all have the support that you need through this time, but I think also let's take what we are learning from here and make sure that we provide that kind of support to each other even beyond this COVID-19 pandemic. Remember that empowerment can't happen if we refuse to be vulnerable while we're encouraging students to take risks, and think about how vulnerable you're willing to make yourself. And also remember that this is not business as usual, and that one of the gifts we can give our students and each other is to not pretend that this is business as usual. And, to offer them the not pretending. We should not be pretending. And oh my God, I think I finished before the time was over. So thank you and stay safe. These slides are open for commenting at bit.ly/Bali Gasta.